Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. My first question is for Mr. Stoltzfus. You had mentioned in your testimony some of the issues that plague the dairy farm, and many other dairy farmers whom I've been in contact with throughout Somerset and actually through the entirety of Pennsylvania 13 have talked to me how the dairy industry has been affected by the decreased use of dairy products. So some of the initiatives that I have been involved in is, first of all, to make recommendations that whole milk is returned to public schools. My concern, and what I hear from the dairy farmers, is that we've lost a generation of milk drinkers by allowing skim milk to be substituted. As a physician, as a parent, I understand that the nutritional values of milk can be carried in the small amount of fat that's in milk, that the vitamins A, D, E, and K are in that very small amount of fat that is in whole milk. That is needed for brain development, it's needed for muscle development, it's needed in the children in the public schools. Can you address how initiatives like returning whole milk into our public school can potentially increase dairy use and actually dairy prices?
Thank you. I've often said that I think as you stated, we've lost a generation of people who used to drink milk, whole milk. Fluid milk is the class 1 milk that we receive the highest premium for. And in the northeast part of this country, we tend to sell a lot of our milk in that class 1 that goes for fluid milk. And as that consumption drops, we continue to lose that premium that is there for that class 1 milk. It's unfortunate what has happened in the schools and in the cafeterias where we've tried to push this skim and 1% milk. And to be honest with you, it's not good. It doesn't taste good. And when you take away that flavor, the folks don't, you create habits when you're very young. And as you age, you tend not to change those habits. So in that way, yeah, we've lost a generation of folks that used to drink fluid milk. I think it's nature's most perfect beverage. So actually, I definitely agree with you. Getting whole milk back into schools would be a tremendous advantage to us as dairy farmers.
I'm going to follow up on that, Mr. Stoltzfus, with an additional question. The dairy industry has been hard hit with imitators in the dairy counter. So recently, with a member, I crossed the aisle and we wrote a letter to Gottlieb, the FDA secretary, addressing that in the dairy case, that dairy products should be present, that imitators of dairy products that are sold under the label of being milk or dairy shouldn't be allowed. Do you think this has had impact on your industry as well?
Absolutely. Years ago, you used to go to the beverage case in supermarkets, and a very large percentage of it was milk or milk products. Now we're in competition with all kinds of juices and other things, including the nut juice or whatever you want to call it, that's being called milk that does not come from a lactating animal. I believe that there is actually a law or a rule that in order to be labeled as milk, it has to come from a lactating animal, and it just is one that has not been enforced. And we certainly would appreciate that being enforced. And I think it would distinguish a difference between milk, which comes from a lactating animal, and those products or those drinks that do not.
Thank you for that clarification, and thank you for reminding us what we were all taught in 6th grade science class. I appreciate that.